Good morning, everybody. On this Tuesday, March 31st, 2026, I have all of your news for your rush hour ride to work, and this is the breaking news story you're going to need to know today. There is a massive update in the Charlie Kirk case. Who killed him? Of course, Tyler Robinson is behind bars, and now ATF is saying they cannot match up the bullet that was used to kill Charlie Kirk with the rifle that they are pinning to Tyler Robinson. Absolutely wild stuff. A sheriff has resigned. We're going to break this all down for you guys right now. Wild day in this, what is now, I think, the greatest conspiracy of our lifetime. New court filing: the bullet used to Charlie Kirk does not match the rifle allegedly used by suspect Tyler Robinson. The murder weapon and the alleged murder weapon are not the same weapon. This is not a minor evidentiary dispute. If the bullet doesn't match the gun, the prosecution's case has a fundamental problem. Joe Kent, which we've been reporting on, said on Tucker Carlson that the NCTC investigation into Kirk's death was stopped. Kent said Kirk's last words to him were, "Stop us from getting into a war with Iran." Kent confirmed Kirk was under documented pressure from pro-Israel donors in the weeks before his death. Candace Owens, of course, revealed those text messages, which were denied, and then they were later confirmed to be real. The investigation was stopped, and now the bullet doesn't match the gun. You guys believe this? Now, I might not, you got to check on fake news. I'm like, is this April 1st? Not exactly. This is a real story. So how about this right here, being reported, Daily Mail, God forbid the pop-ups. Bullet used to kill Charlie Kirk did not match the rifle. So, again, this is a real story. And not only is it a real story, we've got the sheriff resigning. We'll get to that in a second. But here's Candace Owens, again, kind of vindicated. At least, I mean, look, we don't know Charlie Kirk, but we know he's dead, right? There's so many different theories. Did Turning Point USA? No. Again, there's no evidence of that, but there's certainly evidence that this might be a job done by people that wanted Charlie Kirk's voice to be removed from the discussion around the pending war, because at the time of Charlie Kirk's death, we had already done the bombing of the nuclear, facilities, and the motions were in play. This is insanity. Have a listen.
Two options here. They're going to burst through the door. You're going to get the SWAT team. You're going to have guns to the faces of you, your mother, your father, or you're going to go and peacefully see what they have. And he's like, I didn't do it. Those are your options, bud. And that is the reason that Tyler Robinson went to the police station. And miraculously, we have no footage of that day.
And there's so much from that initial day, if you remember Tyler Robinson, right? Everyone initially was saying, oh, yeah, no, he confessed to it. They literally showed up to the police station. And now what, people are hearing from families, like, well, it was either show up to the police station or they were going to, create a scene and knock the doors down and things like that. So, again, we have heard nothing from the inner circle of Tyler Robinson until recently, sources are coming out explaining this scenario where they're like, no, we really don't believe that he did it.
As we're all aware today that they made a report that the bullet does not match up to what was inside Charlie Kirk's neck, what they recovered. We already discussed this back in September, back when he was assassinated. We already claimed multiple times that this shooter was not 200 yards out. The real shooter was within the crowd that day, within plain fucking sight. The real was using a much smaller caliber than a .22. The real shooter was within Charlie Kirk's entire team he organized to protect him at that rally. They sat there and called Candace Owens crazy for speaking up on these facts, and yet she has been nothing but truth about this entire situation. We were all distracted by a kid that had nothing to do with the actual shooting from 200 yards out, that the real is still on the loose today. Why did it take all this time for them to match up the bullets? Makes no sense to me.
It was just posted that the bullet used to assassinate Charlie Kirk doesn't match the alleged suspect. This is huge because from the beginning, people have been saying this is BS, like this doesn't make any sense. Erica Kirk, how she's been acting doesn't make any sense. And there's a psychic on TikTok, I can't think of her name, I think it's like Brian and Cindy or something like that. She spoke and she said that Charlie visited her in her dream, and it's just persistent that they need to look into this more, it's not what it seems, yada yada yada. This is huge. This is a cover up. Like this is a cover up. If you haven't looked into what Erica Kirk is about, look at what she's tied to. She's tied up with Epstein. She's tied up with Trump. She's tied up with a lot of different evils. She her husband. Like, what are we going to do about this information? This information is being sent to us, being shown to us. I'm excited. I can't even speak. Real time. And he's still the president? Like, how does that work?
Serious question for y'all. Do we really think they're going to admit that they JFK'd CK? And I'm asking to shoot me a follow to stay up to date.
Hello there. I just want to say that today social media is being sent into a frenzy after the headline that you just heard in today's videos came out. So it turns out that the bullet that was used in the unaliving of Charlie Kirk could not have been the one because it doesn't match the pew-pew, that was used in the incident. Now, what does this mean for the accused, Tyler Robinson? Stick around and find out more. So these are just some of the revelations that people had to say concerning this situation. But what do you think? And conspiracy theorists could have actually been right, because just a day after the incident happened, a lot of people came up with this called conspiracies because, they were unconfirmed. And it turns out that they were actually right. Things were not adding up, and people could have been wrong. The people that, are in the judiciary system and everything, they could have been wrong. Now, here's what I'm not saying. I'm not saying that the case is going to be over right now, because there are still a lot of things that are going on right now, such as the defense for Tyler Robinson has to use some of these revelations that have come out to sort of like clear the crime, but it's not going to like just go away magically, because the persecution is still going on. They could want to use other evidences such as the alleged texts or DNA, just to keep this case going. But we're going to talk about that in a few. But what does this mean for, everything that is on the ground currently? So we're going to have a discussion afterwards, but stick around as we play you more of these videos.
So who shot Charlie Kirk might actually be in question, because Tyler Robinson's attorneys, in a motion to continue they just filed, they say that an initial report from the ATF, quote, indicates that the ATF was unable to identify the bullet recovered at autopsy to the right allegedly tied to Mr. Robinson. I will repeat that. The initial report from the ATF, quote, indicates that the ATF was unable to identify the bullet recovered at autopsy to the right allegedly tied to Mr. Robinson. Although the state has not indicated an intent to produce this report at an initial hearing, red flag, the defense may very well decide to offer the testimony of the ATM firearm analyst as exculpatory evidence. That's according to the motion referenced by KSL.com as well as ABC4 in Utah. I have not been able to find the actual motion. It's a motion to continue the preliminary hearing in May. It's essentially, it's like a probable cause hearing. We have them in Massachusetts, but we don't actually hold them. It's a whole thing. They just go from district court through the grand jury and get indicted. And what they say is basically they're being inundated with discovery. There's like tens of thousands of documents of discovery, and there's only a couple of lawyers, and it's going to take them hundreds of hours to go through it to be able to actually present a defense for Mr. Robinson. So they want it pushed. But they also specifically reference the firearm evidence. And there's an initial report. If that's accurate, if there is an initial report from the ATF that indicates that the bullet didn't match the gun, well, what are we doing here, folks? I look forward to hearing the other side.
Okay, surprise, surprise, it's now coming out that the bullet they're saying Charlie Kirk doesn't actually match the rifle that was found on Tyler Robinson. Now, hold on a second. How does that even make sense. I mean, like, come on, when you think about it, we're told that this young guy, Tyler Robinson, managed to get on top of a rooftop, pull off what people are calling near a perfect military base shot, hit him right in the neck, and then what? Just manages to jump off the rooftop, dismantle his weapon, and somehow get away from the scene without anybody catching him. I mean, we all know what really went on, don't we? Just watch this closely, because when you realise that there was something bigger going on behind closed doors, and Charlie Kirk was sort of saying things recently that he wasn't really supposed to be saying. Now, I don't want to say too much, and I would definitely never unalive myself. I'm a very healthy person, at the best I could ever be. But if you've got the eye to see, you know what really happened that day. And also, has anyone noticed recently that Erica Kirk seems to be very angry and emotional at Drewski for mimicking her in a skit? Very much angry compared to the anger she didn't show towards Tyler Robinson, who essentially, potentially assassinated her beloved husband. But yeah, shock horror, it has come out that the accused, Tyler Robinson's bullet doesn't actually match the bullet shooting Charlie Kirk on the day of the assassination. And still to this day, not one person in the world can explain how there was a movie 20 years before the Charlie Kirk assassination that starred Nicolas Cage in a movie called Snake Eyes, where you can see they are using the same ham symbol. And in this movie, there was a politician called Charles Kirkland who was shot in the neck at a live event on September the 10th. And, Charlie Kirk was shot at a live event on September the 10th. Of course, though, all just for entertainment, beautiful people. This is just satire content, and, I'm as fictional as a dinosaur, baby.
Candace, you are in the driver's seat. With this news today, you are in the driver's seat. Bullet used and does not match alleged weapon. This is where it starts. This is where it starts crumbling under Erica right now. Erica, I've been said it. You are checkmated, but it is starting to fall down now.
Major update in Charlie Kirk's case. Tyler Robinson's defense team is now asking the court to push back his preliminary hearing, which is currently scheduled for May 18th, because the defense says that a federal ballistics analysis could not conclusively match the bullet fragment recovered in Charlie Kirk's autopsy to the right prosecutors say was used. The defense is arguing that there are still major evidentiary issues that they need time to dig into before the hearing moves forward. And according to the filing, the defense says that they're dealing with an enormous amount of discovery, including hundreds of thousands of files. And they also point to additional forensic testing that still needs to be done. Prosecutors are still moving forward, and they have said that they intend to seek the unaliving penalty in this case. So stay tuned for updates.
Nicolas Cage did a movie called Snake Eyes, and in this movie there's a man called Charlie Kirkland who was unalived on the 10th of September. Same incident happened with Charlie Kirk, who also got unalived in real life on 10th of September. Is it like some sort of The Simpsons scenario in this movie that just takes place and predicts a future event? I don't really know, but this fact is intriguing. Imagine if there was some sort of board or deck where points are being added to every community or group that does something achievable. The conspiracy theorists group would get 1 more point for guessing that they were right, like for just coming up with the revelations that everything didn't add up after who's passing, right? So they get 1 point for doing that. This is not a game, but they get a point for guessing that it was right. And how do conspiracy theorists come up with these theories actually? But this is not as easy as it sounds. Like, of course, conspiracy theorists came up with this before, confirmed agencies were able to decide what happened exactly. But the ATF actually, which is like a confirmed official, law enforcement firm, has not yet tied or connected the dots of the bullet to the pew pew that was used to unalive who. So the report says that this firm could not like conclusively connect the pew-pew used like to analyze who to the like the scene, like they couldn't like connect it conclusively. And we're gonna get that we're gonna get back to that like in a bit. The defense board for Tyler Robinson says that they may need to like delay this hearing due to the fact that there are no like evidences, like plausible evidences that are found in relation to exactly what happened. So they may need to like delay the hearing due to this finding, along with others that they may want to use. Now here is where this headline sort of gets misleading. Inconclusive, like the word inconclusive, doesn't mean something solid. It means, leading to not really a firm result or confirmed result. So that means the findings are not like an easy yes or an easy no. Now, the reason why this whole situation is very tricky is because experts are looking for these microscopic markings that are found on the bullet after it passes through the pew-pew, like the barrel of a pew-pew. And every pew-pew has a distinct barrel marking on its bullets. So it's not really, like conclusive, or it's not really like positive whether the markings found on the bullets that were used on the pew-pew that was used to take out who are really like the real markings. So that's where like the tricky part is. Now, this is because when the bullet is damaged and fragmented into a lot of pieces, it becomes impossible to match it to the original pew-pew that was used in the crime scene. And the defense will try to like clear Tyler of this, like march, because like if it doesn't match because of the fragmentations, they'll try like to clear it out. And the prosecution also comes with its own defense, with the alleged text or any DNA that was found on the crime scene. So that's where the tricky part is. But you'd let us know what you think with everything that has emerged from the revelations that we gave you in today's video. Do you think it's plausible? Do you think like these findings are actually real and conspiracy theorists were right? Conspiracy theorists get another point on this one. I will see you in the next video, and do not forget to like, leave us your own comments in the comment section. Don't forget to subscribe to become part of our electrifying community, because we always have interesting videos every day, so you don't want to miss out. I will see you in the next video. Signing off, and take care.